Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and I'm here with another crowdfunding preview. This time we're looking at Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is an app-assisted narrative game based on the Kingdom Come video game, which I've only played a little bit of, but it is set in a realistic medieval setting. There's no like fantasy or magic or anything here. And yeah, this one is a narrative campaign game. This is all very much still in development prototype. Kind of like my Robomon coverage recently, there is a lot of reading in this game, or in the case of the app as it stands right now, a pretty well done narration. So I'm going to show a few snippets of that, but mostly I'm going to kind of like speed through the narrative sections to summarize what happens, so you can see more of the actual gameplay and how the mechanics work. And at the end of the video, I'll have my thoughts on the game so far. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also watch our separate streaming channel for even more great content. And we have a weekly podcast and a Discord if you want to come and chat with us. So in Kingdom Come Deliverance, you have a number of characters you're playing. Even in solo, you have to control at least two. So here's one of mine, Commoner Zahora. And they have a few things that we'll get into, but some of the big ones are actions. Basically, the players can alternate actions however they want, so it's like not quite simultaneous, but you can take your actions in any order. You've got Vitality. If that runs out, you are defeated. If all heroes are defeated, you lose. Stamina is kind of a catch-all resource that can be used in some cases for rerolls, extra movement, those kind of things. You've got these attribute dice and experience perk points over here. You're going to use those perk points to level up your dice, and then you can also gain perk cards that give you like little combos and reroll opportunities and those kind of things. But these attribute dice will correspond to colored dice of the same color. In tests, you will roll 6 dice, and you always fill out any missing attribute dice with like basic white dice. And like in a lot of these adventure games, you're looking for specific results, like a certain number of successes. Dice can have 1 success on them, and then you'll also have dice with these special symbols. Those only match if you are doing a test of the right type. So like red is strength. Only in a strength test would this count as a success, whereas if I was doing like a green agility test, this would count as nothing. Also, a big thing in the video game and in this game as well is suspicion. You will be moving around while guards, like you're in a kind of conquered, occupied village. So as you do things, you might get more suspicious. You'll unlock different numbers of exclamation points, like 3 exclamation points is always unlocked, but you'll get more and more. And that corresponds to these guard dice for alert checks. Basically, when you do stuff near a guard or when you do stuff suspicious, then you roll color based on how suspicious the guards are of you. And if you get exclamation points that match one of the revealed ones, so like 3 will always find you, but a 2 would only find you if you had uncovered like these 2 spots, then the guards will engage you, battle you, do all kinds of nasty stuff to you. You can also get your suspicion locked if you're covered in blood, or if you're wanted by the guards, or if you're really dirty, or you're visibly drunk. Basically all the things that will make the guards more suspicious of you and pay more attention. You also, as you might imagine, get inventory, level up your weapons, pretty standard adventure game stuff. And the game has you moving around these square tiles. These are prototype miniatures, but they're pretty dang detailed. And they've got like these for all the NPCs and the guards and such too. And very similar to games like Destinies or Mansions of Madness, like little points of interest will pop up that will let you explore to new locations, interact with things on your location, people, items, that kind of stuff. They'll correspond to different stats, as you already saw, which will kind of tell you which sort of skill you might need for it if you need a skill at all. And if you do stuff in view of the guards, then they'll be able to come and chase after you. Their suspicion might change. They might murder you. Those are kind of the basics of the game. So let's jump in. I'm going to play a bit of the opening narration, but then again, I'm just going to show you like little snippets of some of the narration because I think the like voice acting and the writing is pretty well done. But mostly I'll be summarizing what happens as I go.
2 dreadful years have passed since the Battle of Giverhort, the onset of the Hussite Wars. The Catholics and the Hussites have taken up arms against each other. But this conflict is also turning brother against brother, son against father, town against town. The countryside is swarming with displaced peasants and looting Hussite forces. The nobility and the clergy alike are trying to tip the scales of the war and come out of it alive.
Are you folks from around here? We've been getting people from all over. Sometimes places I've never even heard of. Breaks my heart sometimes. Children with no mothers, mothers looking for their children. Just a few days ago I saw this beautiful blue-eyed lass carrying her infant around. It's been dead for days by the looks of it, and she just wouldn't give it up. but you get used to anything when you see enough of it.
To the left of you is a rundown tavern. Scattered around are broken kegs. Most of them have been thrown out of the trapdoor leading to the cellar. The windows have been boarded up, but you could peek in through one of the crevices between the planks and eavesdrop on the conversation coming from the inside. To your right, a house. On fire. The fire has blanketed the surroundings in thick black smoke. The door to the house is shaking.
All right, so I skimmed through a bit of the opening, but if you didn't catch all of that, we've been set into this battle between religions and groups. We're trying to find this wolf guy, wolf being his name, not his creature abilities. And we're trying to find him because he has a list of people who are betraying our cause. So now we're in this occupied village. We've got a burning house to our right. We've got a boarded up inn to our left. We've got a guard, orange suspicion, which is nearly the most suspicious, hanging out with us. We've got some actions to go. And I've got two characters. Let's look at them. So Commander Zahora is strong and has a little bit of speech expertise. He's got a once per game character perk to get a boost in a combat check. He's got a bludgeon to hit people, some wine to give him a boost in a die roll, but then he gets drunk and he's more suspicious. And he's got a ton of vitality and not too much stamina. And I've also got Maiden Jarmilla. She's got a dagger, some yellow herbs. Oops, I'm supposed to have 2 uses on those. A lot of items will have like charges you can use for them. So that's basic healing. She's agile and perceptive. I tried to split the abilities there. And her once per game ability is to heal someone on her tile, herself, or somebody else. And we've got some actions available to us. We can pick the herbs. That is not a suspicious action, won't do anything. But if we try to go check out the door to the burning building or peek in the windows of the inn, we might raise the suspicion of George over here, the guard. We'll have to roll against his suspicion check. And just to show you, this is a very early build of stuff, but like how they have it right now is like you see the map. And you see how many actions you have available in each space. And if you click on it, it like shows you the actual thing. So like it reminds you we're inspecting the door or peeking in through the wall of the inn. We're collecting herbs. Or you can like try to attack the guard or backstab him if we have that ability unlocked. We do not. So that's what the interface looks like right now. But I imagine it'll change greatly as the game develops more. So yeah, right now I can't go north. I can't go south. I pretty much have to do one of these things. And Maiden Jarmilla is better at blue and green. She has 1 skill on each. So let's have her go first. Let's have her check out this burning building. I think that seems pretty nasty. But first, I'm sure this will make Steve on the streaming channel and podcast very happy. This game does have some stealth in trying to avoid guards. You can, as a free action, basically at any time when you're not resolving an action, go into stealth or leave stealth. Being in stealth means that you can't move more quickly. You can only move 1 space at a time. Normally, you can spend stamina to like run farther. And it means some actions aren't available to you, like you can't talk to people while you're in stealth. You can basically only do like suspicious stuff or basic things like exploring. But you get a reroll of the guard dice by spending 1 stamina, so you can have a better chance of not getting discovered. And you can leave stealth again as a free action. Although if you are discovered while you're in stealth, that just kind of maximizes your suspicion and all of your suspicion goes to depleted. You'll basically have to like run away from the guards entirely to get your track back. But yeah, so let's have Maiden Jarmilla check out the burning house. But actually, you know what? Before we investigate, we do have to roll since it's a suspicious activity and there's a guard here. So we're going to roll a orange die. And right now, the only symbol showing on our board is the 3 exclamation points. We just don't want to roll that. And if we do, since we're in stealth, we can pay a stamina to re-roll it once. But we are fine. But anytime you have an alert check and at least 1 exclamation point is showing, you do lose 1 suspicion to the depleted zone. That'll only recharge at the end of a turn where you are not near any guards. So even though they didn't exactly see us, she's still kind of putting herself in more danger. All right, when you do these kind of actions, the token always comes away. And let's go to the app again. We'll see another example.
Clearly somebody is trapped inside and shouting.
Let me out! You filthy, thieving bastards! You hear me? Open it!
It shouldn't be hard to loosen the nail sealing the door. You don't exactly have to be a master locksmith to do it. So get to it.
So we've gotten to a skill check. It says perform open door. The green means which type of check it is, in this case, agility. And we just have to get at least 1 success. It's super easy. Now looking at Jarmilla's stats, she's got 1 agility for a green die, 1 perception for a blue die. And you always need 6 dice, so you fill in with the white dice. These dice are either the same or better than the white dice, so you always want to use them. Now, if she was super leveled up and had more than 6 of the different colors, she'd have to choose for the specific check which one she wanted to use. Some of the colored dice also have these little shields that will stop hits in combat. But honestly, since this isn't combat, and since only agility will help, the blue die is really no better than the white dice. So she's going to roll looking for 1 success. And wow, she actually got 1, 2, and 3 because that symbol is in the same color die as the skill check. But if she hadn't done that well, once per roll, you can spend a stamina to reroll as many dice as you want. And also, if you're in the same space as another character, once per roll, they can each spend an action to give you, again, a reroll of as many dice as you want. But that's not a problem here. Let's, I guess we can put the full 3, and I don't think it'll matter.
You've torn out the wooden planks nailing the door shut, and indeed, a woman barges right into you.
Oh, thank God. And you. The Hussites. They came demanding gold, but my husband wouldn't give it up. They beat him terribly and set the house on fire. Please. He's still trapped in there. Do something.
All right, back from the app narration. That might be the last one I show for a while. I'm going to get a perk point in survival. Let me show you what that means. So there are 3 quadrants, each with 1 trait, I guess, of each type and color. So in this case, I got survival, so I put the little perk point here. And there are 2 uses for these. First of all, you can use as many perk points as you want in the relevant color. So if I wanted to level up agility, they could come from survival, dexterity, and or thievery. And you need to spend as many perk points as the number you're trying to get to. So to get to level 2 agility, let's say I had like thievery and survival or 2 on survival, I could spend them both. And this is a free action. I just can't do it when I'm resolving a test, but any other time I can. That would permanently boost my agility to 2, and now I could roll 2 green dice in checks instead of 1. But alternatively, there are decks of perk cards for each color, and they show you a few different things. First of all, they each have a level, which is the minimum you have to have in the relevant stat. So here, because these are level 1, she could get them since she has 1 agility, but a level 2 card she could not get. But then you also have to spend 1 perk point, just 1, so they're pretty inexpensive, but it has to come from the exact subtype indicated. In this case, both of them are dexterity. So her 1 survival perk point would not let her get a perk at all right now. But silly Mike, I should have dug deeper into the deck. There's also survival cards. Let's look at those. So she could get the light armor perk, and that would let her in combats where she's not wearing plate armor. She's certainly not. She would get 2 free hits. That's pretty amazing. Although actually, I say free. I'm pretty sure for all these abilities, you have to use 1 stamina to use them. She could get Serrated Edge, which would let her, when backstabbing with any weapon, reroll any 4 dice. I'm not sure if that lets her backstab or just boosts a backstab. I don't think she'll be doing it either way. And then Dodger would let her change this specific symbol, which is the one on the green die specifically, into 2 shields to block damage, which in a combat, usually the green face doesn't do anything, so that'd be pretty nice if she gets a bunch of agility. None of those really call out to me at the moment because I don't expect to be fighting much. So I'm just going to save the perk point, but that's how they work. All right, that event also spawned the Dismayed Wife. Here she is. And she's got a white ring around her base. Guards will have the different colors to show how alert they are. White ring characters are ones you can interact with, you can talk to, and you can never attack them unless their attitude changes. And then skipping a bit of dialogue now, a guard came around the corner. He's like, why the heck did you let that lady out of the house? He wants to murder her. So she runs away to C4, and there is no C4. This is like the quadrants that are shown on the map in the app. C4 is down here. That basically means that either they're out of play for now, or some effects will let you sometimes put a tile in places you couldn't get to before. But right now, she's just kind of gone. And I have a choice. Do I want to attack him, attempt to talk to him, or is it none of my business? Well, we'll try to talk to him. And this is still all part of the same action. I don't have to spend a second action to do this, but it also means that I can't skip to Commoner Zahora, who's better at speaking. So I'm chatting with this guy. I need to get 3 successes on 6 dice, but it's yellow, which means my green and blue dice are no better than anything else. And there's only a single success in these basic dice, and for the green and blue when it's not matching. So getting 3, even with some rerolls, is kind of a tall order. Let's see how I do. That was actually amazing. I got I got 2 successes already. So since Commoner Zahora is in the same space as me, he could spend an action to give me a reroll. But first I can spend 1 stamina per roll to reroll. And both stamina and actions will refresh at the end of the round, but vitality never will except through healing items like the yellow herbs or Jarmilla's abilities, so you got to be a lot more careful with that. But when you take damage in combat, you can negate as much as you want with stamina before we actually take it to vitality. So if you're still pretty rested, you can avoid dying. So the stamina lets me reroll up to 6 dice. I'll reroll the 4 that missed and predictably get nothing. So now Commander Zahora, or Commoner, will go ahead and spend an action since he's in my space. Give me 1 more chance to get that final success I need. And, ooh, I got it! I thought that was done. That die came out of nowhere. So 1, 2, 3, submit. You're made up blabbering about an extraordinarily long game of dice you recently watched in a tavern, entertains the guard for a moment, and then he sets you loose. Get out of my way, weaklings. And you bought the woman some time. Move him to C4. So he's also off the map, but it looks like we helped her to get away. And we get some new actions. We get a green one, and this is not suspicious. It would say if it was. Enter the burning house, or we can explore to the north now. We can actually go and see what else is in this town. All right, cool. Let's switch to Commoner Zahora for a second. I think he'll spend his second action to go into the burning building, give him some turns doing cool stuff. And again, this one is not suspicious. The only times you have to do alert checks is when you do suspicious activities in view of a guard, or if you move onto a guard space, you have to immediately take an alert check. But me, moving away from him doesn't really do anything. Oh, and I should say, by the way, you'll see that the tile numbers for everything except T108, tile 108 that's in the center here, are brown instead of beige. And that means you cannot move on to them. You can only get into these spaces through the actions in other spaces. And this one's actually now, we're going into the burning house. It got replaced with a little floor plan. And that came with what's called a passage token. So we are now allowed to move freely back and forth here. And there's some rubble to explore. Let's loot the burning house. Nice. And there's also a sobbing, dying man in the middle of the blaze with a talk test on him. I guess this is the husband that the wife was trying to protect. And cool, as part of the action, we get a free move onto the location. So I think it only makes sense. Zahora has one action left. He's a little bit better at speech. Let's talk to this guy before he dies. And to summarizing the bit, this merchant is on his last legs. He asked if his wife was okay. We lied and said that she was. And now we can either give him his last prayers or not. Well, let's do what seems to be the nice thing. And he's really happy about it. Our karma increase, that's tracked by the app. There are a lot of things that are only in the app. And yeah, we get a free merchant's hat. Okay. So we're like, hey, let's administer the last rites to you. Give me your cap. But free stuff is cool. This will take up the hat slot for Zahora, although you can use actions to trade stuff with each other. And it says, during an alert check, you can re-roll 1 alert die, or 2 if you are stealthy. Now, again, I think unless it says freely, it always costs a stamina to do that. But between being in stealth and between this hat, you can get a ton of re-rolls because they're like, oh, that guy's just a merchant. He clearly wouldn't do anything bad. And that's gone, but I guess he's still alive? And now Jarmilla has 2 actions left. She could run in here and not be with the guard anymore, and that would get her 1 suspicion token back. But then she'd just have to run out and meet this guy again in a second anyway. So I think while she's in stealth, maybe she should check out what's going on in the inn. That leaves her with 1 action left, but she does have to see if this guy discovers her. He does not. But her suspicion is just getting worse and worse. Now she'll be discovered in the future on a 2 or a 3 because he rolled at least 1 exclamation point. I guess I could re-roll it with stamina to try to get a blank, but that'd be dumb because if he finds me, I don't want to get attacked. And yeah, to summarize what the inn said, because again, I'm going to try to show you as much of the mechanics as possible. Basically, this guy's hiding his daughter in there. It's all boarded up. But I did get a stealth perk point. Let's see, anything cool. Daring Debonair, alert check. Whenever your suspicion is matched, refresh 2 stamina points. I don't really want to be found. Match means they find you. Alert check when you're in stealth. Use 1 stamina to reroll all alert dice. That's pretty nice. Finally, Slim Fit. You may ignore the suspicion penalty on 1 of your equipment. So yeah, some equipment like the bigger, nastier things you might have will have a certain number of suspicion icons on it. And that means you have to lock suspicion on it. So if you're walking around town with a giant broadsword, then the constabulary and the Hussite might take offense at that. So that's a pretty cool one, but she doesn't need it yet. I do kind of like the Crouching Chameleon. If she's going to be the stealthier one out of my group, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and buy that for my 1 stealth perk point. And again, it just is something I can use for a stamina to, when I'm in stealth, reroll every single one. And you might ask, why does it say all the dice when you only roll 1 for the guard? But if you're moving into a space with 3 guards, you would roll alertness for all of them. So it is nice to have the ability to roll a lot of dice again. All right, and now maybe she should explore to the north. If she can get away from this guard, then we won't have to worry about her being so suspicious. And yeesh, a lot happened there, but let me summarize. We found the guy Wolf we were looking for. Yay! He's stuck on a pole and dying. Boo! But he does hint to this little orphan he's talking to that the main person at the monastery might know how to help. And the orphan is there for us to talk to. He's got that talking thing right on him. We can also explore to the west and the east. We can check out this cart. And there's a pigsty further on we can also go to. We can explore to the west there, and we can look in the pigsty. But that is the end of our turn. So we click the player refresh button, and it's do you want to? Yes, I do. So it reminds you, you get all your stamina, all your action points back. You get your suspicion back if you're not on a space with any guards. And sometimes guards will have alert dice set. You get rid of all of those. But sometimes guards will do stuff too, like they'll pop up out of places like things are happening while you're mucking around. But in this case, nothing happened yet. Oh, well, let's start with something simple. Let's have Zahora go ahead and rob this guy's house. And hey, he found a key with a cross on it. This just sits in our inventory, doesn't take up any like needed slots. And if we ever find, I don't know, a treasure chest that'll fit it, then we can use it. But there's nothing else to do in the house, so he might as well move out. And let's have him move in and see what George over here has to say before he tries to go further north. So he's not suspicious at all, but he doesn't have any reroll. Oh no, I guess he does with the merchant's hat. Haha. So even if he gets unlucky, he can spend 1 stamina and not worry about it at all. You know what? I guess I might as well go into stealth, right? Because it is a free action, and I can just leave stealth again if I want to run really fast away from the guard, and it can give me 2 rerolls. Whoops, that went out of frame, but there we go. 2 exclamation points, so he does take a suspicion to the depleted zone. But then for his second action, he'll get over here with no guard to watch him. And he's ready to talk to the boy, but let's have Jarmilla move as well. I want to get her losing her suspicion, which means getting away from this guy. So she'll spend an action and a stamina. Each stamina you spend lets you move an extra tile, but you do have to stop if you get onto a guard space and immediately roll for alertness, but there is no worry of that here. So she's over at the pig sty and ready to explore to the west as well. All right, now I guess let's have Zahora, who's a little bit better at speaking. We already know that. Talk to the orphan. And no, he gets freaked out by me, runs away thinking we're enemies to C1, and then this guard comes out of nowhere and focuses on him. That means basically they're in combat, or at least he's messing with the kid. And the kid actually tried to attack the guard because he's so mad about what they did to his friend Wolf. So we can distract the guard. There's a new talking thing. Not suspicious. That's nice. But he's also injured. I think if we don't distract the guy maybe this round, he'll probably get killed. And that kid's our main lead here. So, yeah, you know what? It kind of works out well. Zahora's out of actions, but Jarmilla still has 2 left. Let's have her, unsuspiciously talk to this guard. And darn it, there's a guard on our space. That means she might not get her suspicion back. But yeah, let's do that talking check. And here we go. He's approaching us with a mirthless grin on his face. We can do a dialogue check. Oh, we still haven't leveled that up, have we? With a 3 needed, and she only has 1 reroll from herself. Zahora can't help her out. This might not go well. Oh, and by the way, sorry, I should note, she cannot be in stealth. She would have had to drop that, both because you can't run with stamina when you're in stealth, and also because you can't do non-suspicious or explore checks while in stealth. She can't, distract the guard while, crouching and being a ninja. But here we go. No perks to help us. Nothing at all. That doesn't look good. Let's spend 1 stamina for my 1-time reroll. Yeah, hitting 3. This is basically like hitting 3 6s on 6 dice. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. Hey, I got 2. It was a good effort. I don't think the game cares about good efforts, but there it is. So 1, 2, submit. You're not good at small talk. The guard is not satisfied with your explanation. Oh, deplete 1 action point. Okay. Oh no, Ulrich on C1 engages you, focuses miniature on yours. You are now in combat. I don't want to be in combat. While you were dealing with the guard, the boy seized the moment and ran off to an eerie-looking house surrounded by bushes. So we get a whole bunch of other stuff, but hey, at least I saved him. All right, yeah, so we reveal this plague house. There's some mysterious bushes we can search to try to find a way to it. The boy is gone. He's not even on the board anymore because we don't know for sure where he is. And I might get murdered, but right now we're out of actions. So we're just going to refresh and see if this guy gets a free attack on me or anything. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, we get all our stuff back. She's definitely not becoming unsuspicious. She's literally fighting a guard. Oh, but we get a world event. So yeah, these will happen sometimes in the middle of turns, like things will interrupt and you'll have to do something, or at the end of turn. So something is happening on C3, the path into the village. We're going to look back at another part of the board, and this is one of the cool things the app does. It kind of gives you like this living, breathing thing going on even when you're not over somewhere. And I definitely won't show you what the app said for that one because there was some foul language. This is a family-friendly channel, everybody. But, oh man, this guy's back. The good news, he did not find the lady. I guess our distraction helped her. The bad news, he is now red suspicion. He knows that we distracted him. He is angry. And if he finds us, like maybe moves up to Zahora over here, he will do bad things to us. Now, speaking of Zahora, I could go examine, but let's spend his first action to get right up in here so we can give some rerolls. He could even engage the guy himself in the combat, and he is kind of better at combat, but you know what? Jarmilla's already here. She's gonna wail on this guy. She's going to destroy him. I mean, maybe those things will happen. I can't really back that up. Now, she does have the worthless dagger. It says combat and backstab, so I think it provides this bonus in either one, I'm pretty sure. It says she gets to reroll all her green dice for free. I wish she had more than one, but yeah, that's a free reroll of her green die every time. You know, she can only attack him. I don't think she can backstab. I think she needs to already be in stealth, and she's not. So let's just go. All right, so she's attacking him. Oh my God, he's gonna murder us. So you build up to kill them. Like, you don't have to kill them in one hit necessarily. She's clearly not going to get 9 hits. This is a terrible idea. But if she can get 5 successes, only 5 on 6 dice and only hit on 6s, woof, then she won't get hurt. Let's go for it. But hey, Zahora's over there to give her a reroll. She's got a reroll of the green die. She's got her own reroll with stamina. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be fine. Okay, she got 1. Let's go and do the free reroll of the green die with the dagger. That's still nothing because it's not a green check. Let's spend 1 of her stamina to reroll. I think the more hits, the better, because you can't... Ooh, that's good. I'll actually keep that. It's going to cancel 1 damage against her, even though it's not a success. And then Zahora will spend his second action to give her 3 more rerolls, I guess. And I wish he hadn't, because that didn't do a dang thing. So we've got 2 successes. Okay. But we do get to prevent 1 of the hits with our shield. You receive 6 hits! Oof! Increase your suspicion by 1. Yeah, I imagine so. Ooh, but I get a perk point in weapons. That's cool. And an opportunity to retreat has opened. You know what? That seems like it's probably a good idea. But first, let's take the damage. So it was 5 hits, I think it said. 1 for my shield. And I can take all 4 of it on my stamina. Oh, no, it was 6 hits. So I do have to take at least 1 vitality. But she got a weapons perk, so if she can retreat, then she can spend it to get a strength and not be quite as terrible next time. And we successfully retreat. Luckily, the game is pretty forgiving in letting you get away because, you're not trained soldiers. You're not really supposed to be killing these people. But that guy is now red suspicion instead of orange. Yay. So let's try to get Jarmilla the heck out of here. Let's spend her second action to investigate the bushes, see if she can find the boy. And ooh, she made it inside the plague house. This is good. There's a ladder she can climb to the 2nd floor. Somebody set up a chapel, trying to probably hide it from the Hussites. And there's also a table to look under. And we can pry the door open, but it's a suspicious activity. Now, this is something I'm not clear on the rules, so you might see like a note right here if they tell me that I was playing this wrong. I don't think doing suspicious activities matters unless there's actually a guard there to see you doing it. Like, thematically, that kind of makes sense to me. But I'm not 100% sure about that. When she got a perk point in dexterity, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's get our agility to 2. Let's get our strength to 1. We are weak no longer, I say. Oh, wait, something's happening in the burning house. It's going to start to collapse. Are there players inside it? Thank God, no. The object 2 is gone. Passage token is gone. Okay, so we can't go into the burning house anymore. So again, they use time through the app in a cool way with this game. That house is burned down now. We've each got 2 actions left. Let's have her try to climb the ladder, I think, right? She's good at the blue stuff. You approach a ramshackle-looking ladder. It looks like a strong blast of wind would reduce it to firewood. Okay, so we need to get 2 successes with blue, which feels more feasible now that these are the dice I'm rolling, although I don't have any rerolls, and I don't have any stamina, and the commoner Zahora is not there to help me. That looks pretty good. Oh, wait, I just moved it. Yeah, that's 1 success, 2 success because this is a blue check. 3 successes, more than enough. Ooh, we didn't see anything like really major up here, but we did see something hiding in the tall grass on the tile that Zahora is still on. Well, clearly for our last action of the turn, we're going to explore that. Oh, darn, I thought it was going to be the kid, but it's just a potion. It only has 1 charge on it. Gain 3 extra stamina points for 2 rounds. Gain the drunk status. Wow, Zahora already had some wine. He might as well just go all in on inebriation as a success strategy. I don't know. And that leaves us needing to refresh again. Let's see what the guards are up to with that. Okay, so we get all our stuff back. But yes, something is happening on the grassy... Oh, no, that's where Zahora is. Your recent Hussite acquaintance is desperately looking for you. You won't get far. Every chicken is for the chop eventually. The guard was serious about the chicken. Watch your neck. All right, so all players... Oh, no, he's going to do a alert check. I mean, it makes sense that the guards would still be looking for you even after you ran away. So Commoner Zahora is going to have to roll against a red. I don't... Is he still stealthy? I feel like he must not be. But despite that, on the positive side, suspicion is still at least, max, I don't know what to call it, least suspicious, that sounds better. And he's still got the merchant's hat, so I bet he'll be okay, right? Beautiful. 1 depleted, we don't care. I had nothing to do with that lady who tried to stab you. And I think we'll stop there. I don't want to spoil too much of the opening scenario for the game. But you've seen how you level up, and it really gets pretty crazy when you get these perks and things, especially the higher level ones. And the cool thing is that these always, no matter what their level is, cost only 1 perk point. So yes, in a way at first it might be obvious like Jarmilla was doing to increase your stats, but eventually those become very expensive and you can just get a ton of perks instead. But with all that said, let's get into my impressions of the game so far. I've only played a little bit, but what do I think? So first of all, the big thing is, and this is not a knock against the game, it's just a comment, but I think it will greatly inform whether you're interested or not. This game is very similar to games that I've already talked about. The two that I would call out the most are Mansions of Madness, 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight, which is also an app-assisted game, also has like enemies and things happening even when they're not on the board, also has pretty streamlined like skill check mechanisms and some mitigation, like very similar, except that the theme is, of course, Arkham Lovecraft horror instead of medieval realism. And then on the other hand, for a much closer theme to this one, although still more fantastical, is Destinies from Lucky Duck, which is also app-assisted, which also has enemies doing stuff, which also has like little explorable things on the board. So if you like those games, I think you might like this one. If you didn't like those games, I'm not sure if this one brings enough new stuff, but let's talk about some of the things it has. First of all, the whole guard mechanic and the stealth mechanic, it's pretty streamlined, it's pretty simple, but it is cool, and it gives kind of consistent danger to the scenario, especially when I've played more in this one. Now, you do sometimes have enemies moving around in Destinies and Mansions of Madness and other adventure games like that, but I think like kind of the like little stealth mechanic, the blending in mechanic, the deciding like when to attack people, them being super dangerous, you really being weak and just trying to like stay out of their way, I think all that does give this a pretty unique feel and like makes it a bit more of a stealth game. And I think combined with that, the suspicion mechanic is really cool, especially when you start getting more powerful items that actually make you like not be able to get rid of some of your suspicion. Like if you're literally wearing guards' clothing when you're not supposed to be, or if you have a giant axe, like the game changes appreciably. If you get blood on you, if you get too dirty, I think it is kind of interesting. Like this is maybe the biggest difference from those games that I've seen, and that's really cool. Now, a lot of the other neat elements I can mention are not unique to this one, but I do like the discovery aspect of the board. I like kind of figuring out what the scenario is, although is that going to limit replay? It's hard to tell from this first one. A lot of stuff plays out exactly the same or very similarly when you do it another time, but I can't say whether later scenarios will have more variety in them. The kind of living world that I already talked about, I think that's really neat, and that's an element in all of these games. And I'll say, even in the very early prototype, the app works pretty well. It keeps track of the actions you can do, the combination of these little tokens and which actions are suspicious or not. I think that's all pretty clean. The leveling up is interesting. Again, I think it's pretty similar to Destinies, like kind of advancing these up, but it's more streamlined than that. And at the same time with the perks, which kind of remind me, I know these are from the video game, but it reminds me of Fallout, of course. Yeah, I think these are like a kind of a neater level up system than I've seen in either of the other games I compared it to. And from what I've seen and what you got to share, I shared a little bit, not to bog down the video too much, but the narration is pretty well done. The story's pretty well written. It does already get pretty violent. They already were saying some curse words you might not want younger people to hear. So I don't think this is going to be a family-friendly game. It seems like it's going to be more adult-oriented, but, that's okay. Now, is the game going to frustrate people? Yes, absolutely. I don't think it'll frustrate people more than Mansions of Madness or Destinies or other games like that, but you're in the app all the time. You're reading stuff or at least having it read to you all the time. It's a very like kind of mixed attention thing. Now, they do recommend that like one player kind of runs the app because the spoken narration is pretty easy for everybody to hear, and that way you can kind of like more focus or like trade that role around. But yeah, that will frustrate some people. The dice luck can be pretty extreme. Now, the game is nice in giving you a lot of ways to reroll at fairly cheap costs and not having like any one test kind of make or break your game. You can often like escape the guards and then do something again. And like I already mentioned, I'm not really sure how much replay there will be here. You might play through the entire campaign and then, wait for an expansion or sell it on to the next person. But yeah, I mean, like I already said, if you have played any of the games I mentioned or even watched some of the playthroughs we've done of them, we have videos of Destinies, we have videos of Mansions of Madness 2nd Edition, you should be able to get a very good idea of how you'll feel about this game because it is, doing very similar things. But like I said, I think the leveling system is better. I think the stealth and alertness and suspicion systems are really cool additions to the formula. So that might really raise this up above some of those other games and make it a favorite for people who like this type of one. So there you go. Go check out the crowdfunding page if you're interested. As always, we never get any compensation for this one. Just want to help you make an informed decision. Usually I say that at the beginning, but this time I forgot. Said it at the end. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Good gaming, and I'll see you at the next stop.